Yeah. That's a good coffee.
Welcome to PricePlow.
What's happening, PricePlow Nation, coffee lovers, low-carb dieters, and everyone in between? My name is Mike Roberto, and I'm founder and CEO of PricePlow, which is your online tech and media company that brings you supplement and nutrition deals and news, reviews, and interviews on all things diet and supplement related. So today, I am more than honored to show you the beta test bottles that I received of this bad boy right here, Smart Coffee, spelled SMRT. So a new startup out of New Jersey known as SmartCo, SMRTCo, has what I think is a fantastic idea here that blends my favorite three things all into one bottle here. And what I'm talking about is a cold, out of the fridge, ready to drink coffee beverage with added fat and added focus ingredients, also known as nootropics or nootropics, as I say them on this channel. So what we've seen over the course of time is that there's a whole huge wave of low-carb diet, low-carb, high-fat dieting. Now this includes, but isn't limited to, the keto diet. The keto diet is definitely part of that, but there's a whole big crusade against just basically general high carbohydrate diets, the glycation, all the metabolic disorder that they cause, all that we're not going to get into. Now the issue is that there's a ton of us out there. Many of them keto dieters, many of them just low carbers, some of them paleo dieters. There's a ton of us out there, and we have gone completely ignored by a lot of these different companies, these functional food companies out there. And when I go and I'm at a store and I want to just get a coffee to go, you don't have any options at all. Like pretty much you're gonna go to the coffee pot and you're gonna have to make your own coffee there. Let's say I'm at a convenience store. Go to the coffee pot. Okay, you can pour your coffee. Now you either gotta buy heavy cream if you're a high-fat dieter, because all those little cups of creamer, that's really high fructose corn syrup, which is the exact opposite of any of us wanna have early in the day. Or you gotta bring your own like coconut oil packets or buy a thing of butter. That's disgusting. Or you gotta have your own little coconut oil packets from Trader Joe's. It's ridiculous. Or if you go to a specialty retailer such as Vitamin Shop or GNC, well, they have lots of low-carb energy drinks out there, but nothing that actually has calories for the high-fat dieters, or none of them have some of these added focus ingredients either. And if you make it yourself, you can blend things at home together, but some people just want to get a grab and go. We see how well energy drinks perform, so why not have a high-fat coffee style energy drink? And let's not even talk about like if you're at a convenience store or gas station, the actual coffee drinks that are in the fridge, because those have like 30 grams of carbohydrates in there. That's more than I want to get in an entire day. So that's not even a question. So this whole demographic is growing like crazy and we're not getting served. So it's up to a startup to actually make some waves, make some noise, and that's what SmartCo is doing here. Now what I'm excited about here, and I have not tasted these, I got 3 of these sent. You keep them refrigerated. What I'm excited about is the profile here. Now I know the ingredients, and I do need to say they were sent for, obviously they were sent for free. I haven't bought them, but I do know the ingredients, but I do have to say that I don't know the doses, and that's gonna be a very important thing. If we have, like, let's say a 12-ounce bottle, I don't know exactly what we have, so I'm gonna talk about the ingredients at the end of this video, but I'm not gonna be able to like totally cite all these sources and claim that we have therapeutic doses, although SmartCo is saying that they are hitting therapeutic doses on a lot of these. I'm incredibly excited about a couple of these things because there's a few of these ingredients we've never before seen. First off, one of them we've never covered at all in PricePlow. We've covered a lot of stuff. And second, one of these ingredients we've never seen in a liquid suspension before. So I'm like, I'm jazzed up. This is my bread and butter right here. And for as many energy drinks and pre-workout supplements, fat burners and stuff that that I use on this channel and everything, I still like coffee, because the fact of the matter is that there is research, study after study after study, and it's epidemiology. We can go back and forth on whether it's valid or not, but there's so many of them showing that coffee drinkers live longer. And it's not because of the caffeine. So even though I love some of this other stuff, I do love to get me some coffee in, and I like the taste, and there's a huge amount of benefits, the polyphenols, the chlorogenic acids, all this extra stuff that comes for the ride in coffee that's not necessarily in your energy drink. And there's studies that show like the telomere length, the end caps of your chromosomes are actually longer if you drink coffee, but they're not longer if you just drink caffeine and energy drinks. So that kind of like shows maybe there's some mechanisms here that are very neuroprotective, very protective for your DNA structures and sequences and all that. So I'm extremely excited about the coffee aspect. I want to keep coffee in. But man, you go on YouTube and you look at like keto dieters trying to order coffee at the store and they're adding butter to it and like asking the guy to put butter in their coffee. That's just disgusting. Like I want something that's gonna blend well with coffee, and these bad boys look like they're blending pretty well. Now here's the story though, is that this doesn't have any sweeteners. See, this is more of like an artisanal, I'm told, more of an artisanal type of coffee. My opinion is, and I'm cool with black coffee, I love it at certain times, but a lot of us do have sweet tooths, and even though we're getting away from sweetener, we still sometimes want a little bit of sweetness. So I think if this plays out well for SMRTCo, which I think it will, eventually they might want to have some flavored or sweetened beverages too. But right now, let's start with the base here, and let's just go right into it and do the taste testing. And you got to shake it well. Now I've got 3 of these bottles. I'm gonna drink. Let's see how I feel. I'm gonna drink at least 2 of them. I did tell my wife I'd save her one of them, but I don't know. We'll see. And I will maybe we'll pour one of them in as a close-up B-roll shot. I did take some B-roll that we're showing here, and then we'll jam on the ingredients so you can kind of piece out if you don't want to hear me dork out. But basically, we have like 6 ingredients that are all either neuroprotective or anti-anxiety or pro-focus and all that. So it's like coffee, energy, and nootropics. Everything I want with fat, which is everything I want. So here we go. Let's smell it first. It smells like a creamy coffee. It actually does smell like there's a little bit of sweetness into it. So let's see if we can pour here. Usually when I only got 1 shot at this with the three bottles here. So it's definitely pouring smooth. Is it focusing on the cup is the question. It smells like a creamed coffee with no sweetener. So here we go. Oh, that's interesting. That's got a good aftertaste. So the MCT oil is the oil inside, but there's no, you can't see any oil like coming to the top because there's an emulsifier added. I'm not sure what ingredients are being used here, but there is, so it's not any weird separation like when I just like dump coconut oil into my coffee or something like that. Not having any of that. There is a little bit of extra something in here, and there's a few herbal ingredients, but I'm not getting an herby taste. I'm actually getting like a fatty taste to it. And I think this would go well. Honestly, I think this would go well with a drop or 2 of stevia, but it's definitely not needed. Yeah, it's so one of the ingredients is phosphatidylserine, and it's a lipid. I almost feel like I'm tasting that ingredient more than anything else because it adds a little bit of a thick texture. I like this. I could drink this no problem, but really we're gonna go after the effects here. So that's why I want to take down 2 of these and then report back at the way, you know, like in an hour or so. I'm kind of fading today, and it's not too late, so I want to drink a little bit of coffee and see if I get a little bit of an uptick here. Yeah. That's a good coffee. It's a good coffee with MCT and something else in there. I like it. I definitely like it. I do think that it would play well with a little bit of sweetener. Let's just come right out of the bottle there. It's almost like there's something stolen from a marshmallow in here. It's like, either way, definitely doesn't taste bad. Yeah. Oh man. There's an ingredient here. I'm gonna go with like something out of a marshmallow almost. It's not sweet in that aspect, but it's that other flavor agent. Yeah. Okay. So overall, the flavor is definitely not bad. You got to be a coffee liker to like it, and you're gonna want to have something that's higher in fat. So it's gonna bring a little bit of a thicker, oilier mouthfeel. It's not oily, but yeah, there is that texture. But high-fat dieters are totally used to that. Anyone who's going low carb, your options are basically, well, you're either just not gonna eat as much, which is not gonna be great for the long term, or your options are you gotta up either protein, and that's kind of Atkins diet, or you up the fat, or you do both. And so I'm more into the moderate protein, up the fat, and so you get used to drinking things that are a little bit thicker. And there's a really good aftertaste in my mouth. This is like a good coffee. You can tell they're doing it right here. So that's my quick review off the one-off tasting, and I'm ready to open my second bottle. It's an interesting taste that makes me want to have a little bit more. Now they did send this nice paper, and we're going to be rolling over some B-roll. Kind of the benefits. Here's the problem with regular coffee is that after, the effects are great, but then after 4 days, the effects kind of wear off, and you just need coffee to get back to regular. And then as you have more and more caffeine, anxiety starts to go up. A lot of us have dealt with that. Well, there's a lot of anti-anxiety ingredients that are inside of here to help with that. And so yeah, Smart Coffee picks up where coffee is left off, and this is Coffee Evolved. So we'll be rolling through this. This is basically all I received. And what's inside? So first off, the fat source is MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides. And right now, yeah, if anyone doesn't want to geek out or anything, we're going to be dorking out just for a few minutes per ingredient. Talk about some of the benefits here, but I do need to disclaim, again, I don't know the doses. So I might be referencing some studies that were done at like higher doses than what we have here. Eventually, we hope to know some of these things. But SmartCo is saying that, hey, they got some good doses, especially on the second ingredient I'm going to talk about. So MCT oil, no stranger to anyone that's on a higher fat ketogenic diet, or you're just on a high fat diet in general, or someone who's been in the supplement space for a while. This is like the saturated fatty acids that you get in coconut oil, but they can be found elsewhere. They're typically extracted out of coconut oil, and there's different chain lengths of these, and the benefits kind of depend on which versions you have, but I like a full spectrum of the MCT oils, and the longer ones get cleaved off, beta oxidized, and they get turned into, for keto dieters, they get turned into acetyl-CoA molecules that then get created into ketones, which are our energy source. When we don't have blood sugar sitting around, when we don't have any glucose, we rely on ketones, and the ketones are therapeutic for a lot of people. It's a cleaner energy source. You're not riding the blood sugar roller coaster, and MCT oil converts to that. The smaller chains are even cooler because they don't even need the liver to process any of it. It's basically in your bloodstream and ready to rock for your mitochondria. Now, with regular people though, there are some benefits to just taking MCT oil. What's interesting is like it's not 9 calories per gram. It's actually like 8.3 calories per gram. But we're not really into the whole calories in, calories out. Once we start getting into lower carb diets, that kind of goes away after a little while. But it's interesting to note that it's a little bit different than your standard fat molecule, and it helps with insulin sensitivity, energy expenditure goes up, and it's like a quick, almost like carbohydrate-like energy source, but it's not a carbohydrate. It doesn't make your blood sugar spike, which is perfect. So a lot of people like to use them in their pre-workout stacks, or just whenever they're looking for a kick of energy, which is oftentimes in the morning when you're drinking your coffee. So it's a good way of just, like I said, we got to replace our calories with something. Healthy fats are a great way to do it. MCT oil is a way to go. Now after that, here's the most exciting ingredient I have in here. Does anyone mind if I take a mini break already and just drink this second one? It's definitely got a taste that hangs around in your mouth, and it's not a bad thing. What is that flavor? It's gonna drive me nuts. What's good, so at first it's a little bit like, almost like a starchy kind of flavor, but it doesn't feel like a starch. And then the aftertaste is just a smooth lipid plus coffee. I might go get a drop of stevia. I know they probably don't want me to, but I am thinking about doing that. So the next ingredient, my favorite, I absolutely love this nootropic. It's Bacopa Monnieri. Now this is an anti-anxiety ingredient that is a feel-good, neurotransmitter boosting herb that does all sorts of stuff. You get increased levels of dopamine, but increased levels of serotonin at the same time, increased levels of GABA, increased acetylcholine, which is great for the brain. That's what helps your neurons move back and forth. And what ends up happening is you get like a calming effect, but at the same time, for me at least, this is a personal anecdotal experience, a like big feeling of like a euphoric sensation I get, and it's like a big thinking feeling. Like when I want to put my thinking cap on and think big about what I'm going to do with the PricePlow system or whatever it is, like Bacopa is in the stack. And so it gives me like a really, really good well-being feeling. And honestly, we've never seen Bacopa though in a suspended liquid. And the reason is because it just doesn't mix well. I don't see any herbs floating around here or anything. We have some close-up shots, and you might see like some of the fat kind of floating around. I don't see like little herbs or anything going in here. And the reason is I think that they've got a patented process. And this might even be like one of the bigger parts of this business too, if they discover they are like super duper pulverizing or something. They are micro beating this Bacopa to the point where it's so small that it does mix. Because apparently it's just an ingredient that doesn't mix well. They've got a process that's making it down to like incredibly small particle sizes, and then it mixes in. And so we see that sometimes with like creatine, you see super micronized creatine and stuff. And so they're doing something like that, but with the Bacopa. And I've never seen a liquid before, and I couldn't be more thrilled. It's probably an ingredient that I should take more often. Every time I review a supplement that has Bacopa in it, it gets a good review. It's like it's one of my favorites, and I like all the kind of like the neurotransmitters that it helps generate. Now, after that, we have, I'm going to go to I've already mentioned it. It's a lipid, fatty acid kind of amino acid, phosphatidylserine. Now, this one is going to be of interest for some of the people looking for anti-anxiety benefits once again, but it's also of interest for any of the athletes out here. Some people like to drink coffee or have like one of these shakes, one of these types of drinks before they go and train. Well, it turns out that phosphatidylserine, at the right dose, of course, showed with an endurance exercise study that the cyclists at 85% of their VO2 max were able to go longer time to exhaustion. So they see how fast these guys can go, what their max, what their peak is, have them go at 85%, and then placebo versus versus phosphatidylserine, how long you can go, and they are statistically significantly longer with the PS. And so this is an ingredient that's got not only the cognition benefits, but certain endurance benefits as well. If you're an endurance athlete, you should probably look into it a little bit. There's like little things that you can do to get you a little bit more. After that, we have a two-hit combo. I'm going to kind of combine these because the best research studies are actually when they're combining them, and that's Ginkgo Biloba and Panax Ginseng. Now, most people have heard of both of these. Panax Ginseng being in a lot of the Chinese herbal remedies, and Ginkgo Biloba being great for memory. Now, a lot of the studies on Ginkgo are on neurodegenerative decline, and a lot of these ingredients help prevent decline. So you have to tease out the studies that are for the healthy people and the ones that are done on the people with, let's just say, neurodegenerative diseases. So it helps with the decline. Never a bad problem to start too early. But when they're combined together, there's a lot of studies that are done with healthy individuals, again, at the right doses, where you have increased amount of cognition and memory. And then the other piece of good news is that ginseng also provides an adaptogenic feel. Now, an adaptogen is a type of molecule or a type of compound that kind of regulates your hormone levels. Like, so if you're too stressed out, your cortisol is too high, it lowers it. Some of these ingredients, if the testosterone is too low, it raises it. So it kind of a regulator. And there's an anti-stress effect and a calming effect from the ginseng itself, which makes it good. So these things are always great to have at the right times. I, being an energy consumer, like to mix them with caffeine though, and that's obviously what we have here with the coffee. And I don't know the exact amount of caffeine that's in each of these bottles. That's the kind of stuff that we're gonna wanna know eventually. But so far, I love the combination. I'm not tasting, I've had like ginseng candies and gums before. I'm not tasting any of that. It's not a bad taste. It's just a weird taste. I'm not getting any of that here though, so that's good. So ginkgo, memory, ginseng, adaptogenic feel, and together a lot of good cognition, anti-decline, and memory support. And finally, the last ingredient here, the one that we've never before covered on PricePlow, Polygala Tenuifolia. Now this is yet another adaptogenic herb that helps prevent cognitive decline. But the healthy human-based study that there is out there is way crazy because it helps people with spatial awareness and organization. So if you get lost a lot in the maze, or if you don't know where you're at on the map, maybe it'll help. I don't know about that. But the types of tests that determine and study spatial awareness, organization, if you're just a total scatterbrain mess, this may help ease that ease your problems. So I'm really interested in seeing, I would love to take this alone and try it because honestly I never heard of it before we had it here, and there's not a ton of information out here, but the studies are really interesting. Now what's cool is that with some of these nootropics, they raise certain certain compounds in your brain that then can increase the amount of neurons that you can grow. And I'm talking about increasing brain-derived neurotropic factor, BDNF, and nerve growth factor, NGF. And this actually contributes to the building blocks to increase those. And when you have more of those, your brain is actually able to connect and build more neurons. So your neurons don't only have to die. There are ways of generating them, but and there's ways of hacking it. And that's what we call this biohacking. And so this is like a really interesting ingredient, and for whatever reason you take enough of it, there's like better spatial awareness. So overall, I'm like way excited because first off, like I said, us coffee drinkers on the road, we do not have anything unless we build our own thing together, and no one wants to be putting butter in their coffee. I don't care what you say, that's disgusting. Second, if you just want to grab something quick out of the fridge, all that junk has a bunch of carbs in it. Third, if you do find something or you find an energy drink, they don't have the focus ingredients, and we do still want fat. You know, you can't like not eat, well, you can kind of not eat all day, but a lot of us are no longer needing to lose weight. I'm not doing keto dieting on and off to lose weight. I'm doing it for mental focus. So I do want the calories, I do want the fat, and I do, while I'm here for the focus, I might as well get some focus ingredients too. So that's why I think this is like a perfect idea. I think and this is my opinion, I think that we are a very, very underserved market. I have heard from certain sources out there, and I won't say who they are, but I do know that they are extremely reputable, that Amazon data, they see people search for keto more than omega at this point. Like everyone kind of knows omega-3 and all that. Keto is even bigger than that. So the question is, and I'm not saying everyone needs to go keto. That's not the point. I do believe in high-fat, low-carb. But my point is, there's a huge market growing and growing and growing, and the big players aren't getting in. Why not? Well, I don't know. We could save that for another video, but that's why you get a startup involved to see how the waters go, and these waters are wide open for someone to tear it open. So overall, I'm having a good old time drinking this, if you haven't noticed. I'd like to thank SMRTCo for sending this over, and I really do look forward to the final packaging, because like so far, I think this looks pretty cool. You got the power button as the logo, all that. I don't care. I care about what's on the inside of the bottle, and I care about my market getting served at the stores. I think like Vitamin Shop, GNC, but I think also like if you can just get one row in a few select convenience stores, I think if it's properly labeled like, yo, high fat, low carb people, or coffee without the carbs, something, I don't know what it is. Smart coffee might be good enough on its own. I think it'll sell because no one's selling us anything, and we are consumers that buy stuff. All right, so my name is Mike Roberto. Once again, I run PricePlow. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully we'll throw some charts up here. We're talking about some of the studies, but once again, I don't know the doses. We will follow up with a video once we know a little bit more. And thanks again for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, and I'm happy to discuss more of this. We might need to get into that Polygala a little bit more, huh? All right, thanks. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to PricePlow.